You get to your bye week, some things you want to get accomplished. I feel like we did that. Some things that, on the practice field, guys healing up, as much as you possibly can, and then just kind of trying to get a few things straight based on what had happened, of course, in the previous 3 games. So I feel like we were able to touch on that. And then recruiting-wise, for head coaches, you can't go out in the spring, so it's my first time to get a chance to actually get out representing our university. So that was all good. You also get refreshed, and can't wait to get back, on the practice field and get back to playing games. So that's where we are. Excited about playing a good, very good, undefeated Nebraska team this week. Of course, they won a big one against, the team up north this past weekend. A chance for us to go on the road for the first time. So there's a lot going on this week with us. I feel like we'll be in pretty good shape injury-wise, and again, there's some things that we need to get corrected and just play better football. Take your question.
What was the recruiting experience like for you? What was the message you were trying to send? What was the feedback you were getting?
Oh, just the message is, University of Illinois is a great place for an athlete to come to school. The degree you get, the experience you'll have on our football team, how we do things. That was it. All of our coaches were out, so I feel like we flooded the country as much as we possibly could, seeing who's available, who will be available for us, and at all different times.
Does a 1 and 2 start affect anything of discussions you have or anything like that?
No, not really. If you're talking recruiting-wise? If you're an athlete out there, it may tell you that, hey, they may need me. And as a recruit, I think now they at least know, what we're going to do in all 3 phases to see how they would fit into that. And the response was really good. I know that. So about as good of a response as you would hope you would get was what we did get.
How do you handle that when, some schools are recruiting guys several years and you guys are just catching up with it? How do you approach that just, logistically or strategy-wise in the recruiting part?
Oh, I didn't know my wife before I met her, and just seemed to click just like that. I think there's a special place for everybody, and whether you've known that for a long period of time or if you get there a little bit late in the game, I think that comes to light as much as anything. This is when we're starting, so I think the other part of the message is to be a part of the foundation, the ground floor as we go forward. That's the message we've gotten, the response we've gotten from everyone.
How different was it going out? You haven't been out recruiting in a few years.
I know it's kind of lay up a little bit, but I really do believe it's like riding a bike. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not like I've been in a third world country or anything like that. I've been dealing with people. I've seen parents before. I've talked to people before. We have. So, again, as you deal with people, as you talk with people, selling a product on what you're going to do, that comes back to you fairly quick. And we have a great product to sell here.
Just for your team, what was kind of the focus going into the bye week, and what do you think you accomplished?
You try to hit on all phases of your game, special teams, of course, offense, defense. We've given up some big plays. We haven't made enough big plays on the other side of the ball. Just really tightening the bolts a little bit on who we want to be. It's just not just in one area. It was all of us. All of us looking in the mirror. You have a little bit more time to look in that mirror, though, to know. And I think it's pretty obvious to a man, on what we need to do better. That's what we concentrated on.
You said after the Western Michigan game you wanted to see improved play out of the quarterback position. What did you see?
Every position, I said. Head coach, coaches, quarterback, all. And I'm not running away from your question. It's just that, the quarterback play, accuracy. Can't say the decision, it's accuracy, it's the decision making. It's all of the above. And Wes is a part of that, and that's what he did last week, and that's what all of our players did last week. It's not like guys were trying to get out of practice. They couldn't wait right up until. I mean, we had padded practices on bye week, so and that was great work.
What did you want to see out of Wes in particular in the bye week? Just
Overall improvement. I mean, I know you want specifics that there's nothing specific. It's an entire game. You know, it's what does a quarterback do? And it's like that for every position. It's men and women. It's like that for every position. It's just not one area. It's all of the above. We played 3 games together, and it's our overall game is what we need to improve.
Have you ever been to Nebraska's Memorial Stadium?
Yes, you probably can't tell by here, but I'm an old guy, all right? So, yes, I have. And I do remember it. Don't choose to remember it an awful lot if that's your next question. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, yes.
I'm curious what your impressions of it is just as an environment.
I think as you look at college football, you know, University of Nebraska is a storied program, and, you know, they fill up. You know, it's a sellout most times. A lot of great games have been played there. You know, we have a historic university stadium here. A lot of history behind it. There's a lot of history, of course, behind going there, and I know we're excited about going there.
Nebraska's been pretty opportunistic on their takeaways.
Yes,
What
they
do you
have.
see in that regard?
Yeah, that's what we've seen, and that has a lot to do with that 4-0 record that they have. And I think you can look at that. You know, I've talked a lot about turnover ratio, and but if you can have ball security on one side of the ball and take the ball away as many times, where they have 10 or so, many times that they've taken the ball away, that's pretty good. And most of them are takeaways, not like teams are just throwing the ball, you know, putting the ball down. These are actual takeaways. So defensively, we will need to meet that challenge. Because each week I think is defense. As you're looking, our defensive line, I play in their D-line. Our linebackers, I play in their linebackers. Secondary, I play in their secondary. That's what we need to do.
Western Michigan got some yards on that option run game with
Mhm.
Tommy Armstrong. How big of a task or how big of a focus is that for you guys?
Big task. North Carolina also did. So we need to tighten up some of those things. This is the best running quarterback we played, though. So the challenge, of course, is there. Nebraska has great skill at tight end, running back, wide out. And their quarterback really can beat you. I think last week they were about as balanced, you know, running and passing the ball as you can get. But a lot of it has to do with their quarterback. He can throw it also, you know. He represented them at the Big Ten, you know. Well, he's one of the better players, I'm going to say, you know, in our conference, and you can see why.
What is that running ability when a quarterback has that? Like how much more difficult is that than just a pocket pass?
I mean, it's just tough because, as a general rule, most decent defenses are set up with the quarterback being in the pocket. I mean, that's what allows you a lot of times to have a free safety because, I mean, that's that extra guy, quarterback, free safety. So when you have a quarterback that's a running back also, I mean, it opens up a whole big group of other possible plays. Just take a typical one-back set, and now you have a lead blocker. But really, it's a one-back set to everyone, but using a quarterback, it's a two-back set. You have two-back runs, and that's the way they do it. So it poses a lot of different problems. And this is mobility in the pocket, too. I mean, he can get out of quite a few tough situations.
Lovie, you talked early in the season about the first 3 games that you would probably see a lot of spread,
Yeah.
and that you might use the nickel back a lot, and you have. Do you have any plan to change back to more to a 3 linebacker situation?
Well, it's all based on what an offense does. I mean, we'll continue to use nickel. Once they go 3 receivers, we match up the end. So it's more that. Looking at our season going in, we knew we would be playing a lot of teams that had more of a spread, a 3-receiver attack as their basic form of offensive football. So we will continue to do that. But this week, I'll say, is that this team has used more traditional 2-back sets than any other team we've played. So it'll strictly be kind of based on what an offense gives us, personnel-wise. Thank you.
Oh, can I ask one more?
Yes.
Do you expect to have the injured players from the last game back? Like that much of it? Do you expect to have a
Specifically,
roster?
we expect some of them back. Specific guys. Specifically, who? You have anyone in mind in particular?
Megginson.
Frank
Gabe Megginson. I mean, that was a softball, too. That was a layup I threw to see who would jump on that. Gabe is looking a lot better, I will say that. And, again, we practiced last Wednesday was our last practice. We took off Thursday and Friday, so we haven't seen him. He ran pretty good yesterday. Trying to think of some of us. So there's a
You'd
chance.
expect it back?
Well, I would expect. I like the way you put that. I would expect him back. Well, I hope he'll be back. How's that? You say expect. I'll say hope. How's that? Fair enough.
Ryan Frayne?
I'm sorry.
Frayne?
I hope he will be back also. And really, until we get on the practice field tomorrow, I don't really know. I know those guys are looking better, a lot better. I will say that, and we'll need them both.
Okay, but Desmond King, you missed, you said you.
Also getting better with his knee. Yes. You know, with that much time, when it's Des case, you miss a game and then, bye week 2. I mean, that gives you a little bit of time. It's not like he needed surgery or anything like that, so it gives you a little bit of time. Again, hopefully, I'm trying to think of guys that I know for sure we won't have, and I can't think of anybody just right now. The guys that have played this year, yeah.
Is Austin Roberts okay? You seem to have any.
No, Austin has a knee injury that's is a little bit more serious than it's just not a typical few days out knee injury. Yes.
How about Casley? We saw him with looked like a cast on his wrist.
It's amazing how we don't go over injuries, but y'all have kind of gotten it to a point where we have an injury list now that we're going over. Ken? I am. Guys are getting better. There's not a whole lot more I can tell you right now. You can see why I don't talk about injuries. We're getting better. We'll see who's out there tomorrow. How's that?
Did you address, after what happened Saturday night, did you address that with your players?
What happened Saturday? Saturday night, my wife and I went out to dinner. What else? What happened Saturday?
On campus?
The shooting. I didn't really know what you were talking about. Well, I will address them with it, but in society in general, there's things going on always. We address where our players should be as much as anything and what they should do in certain situations. I just think once you get your program where you want it to be, as things pop up, it's not like you have to call a special meeting to go over things. You're constantly going over, where they should be, what they should be doing most of the time. But I know that's unfortunate, but you have to be, that's our society nowadays, things kind of pop up.
Going off of that, just with a lot of social issues coming up in the world and a lot of players, especially in the NFL, taking part in those social issues, national anthem, things like
Yes.
that. As a coach, how do you handle those situations? Do you talk to them before, or do they approach you? Like, how do you handle them?
This is what I tell our team as a whole. I want them to be involved in their community and what's going on in their world. Politics. I want them to be involved in politics. I like for them to support a candidate and just know the reasons why you're supporting them. And be vocal about it. Things they don't like, I like for them to say that. And if there's something and if you remain quiet, that's saying that you agree with what is being said. So that's, as a basic rule, that's what we go with. And if there's something that someone feels strongly about, I assume they will let everyone know that. I do not tell our players what to say in press conferences. We're constantly teaching on on how we do things, but I don't specifically tell guys what to say and not to say. How's that?